I love teaching about the Hebraic roots. I love teaching about the feast of the Lord. Passover is powerful, it's passionate, there's so much there. But one of the most fun things that I enjoy doing is when I come into a church is to teach on the wedding, the relationship between the groom and the bride. Because a lot of times as North American Christians, we see weddings from our own perspective. And if we do that, we misunderstand the roles that each person played in that wedding. Today I want to talk about the day that the groom comes back for his bride. Now we all know the Bible is replete with language that says one day that Jesus will return for his bride. But how does that play into modern times? How can we have better understanding about these practices? Once the man came in, remember, he would knock at the door, he would come in and sit with her, he would give her gifts, the engagement would begin. But after that engagement begun, not like modern times, you're not married right away. The groom had to leave and go away and had to go back to where? To his father's house. And when he got there, it was his responsibility to build the new home for he and his future bride. Now, sometimes he would just simply add a room onto the house that was existing. Other times, just somewhere on the father's property, he would build this new home. The Bible talks about Jesus going, and he talks about his father having many mansions and many rooms. All of this language seems familiar. But as we understand the role that the groom had to the bride in that day, things begin to make a lot more sense. You see, it wasn't the groom's decision on when the wedding would take place. He would build the house, he would make the preparations, but he couldn't actually pick that day. In fact, if my friend was getting married, and if I went to go visit him and say, listen, the house is in order, everything's good, don't you want to go and get your wife? Don't you want to be with her? That Jewish boy would give a very Jewish answer, and he would say, I don't know the day. Only my father knows the day. Because in that culture, only the father had the authority to make the decision of when the wedding would take place. Jesus refers to this in Matthew chapter 24, verse 36. He says, but about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. And so finally, the father would give the go-ahead and say, you can go and you can get your bride. And the son would come at night. He would come like a thief in the night to steal his bride away. And in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, he would blow the shofar. And the bride, if she was ready, she would come out of the home. She would recognize that shofar blast of her groom. She would come out to meet him. And I know that many of you at home right now, you're having kind of these wow moments. Hang on a second. All this is scattered throughout the scriptures that he'll come back, he'll sound the shofar, we'll be gathered up to meet him in the air. As we understand the culture and the scriptures, the Bible makes so much more sense for us.